Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to my F1 2018 career mode, episode number 164 today for the Japanese Grand Prix in Season 8. If you guys did miss the previous one, the Russian Grand Prix, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. Quite a difficult race, but in the end, the result was pretty damn good, actually, by how the race started and how the car felt, really, in the opening stage of that Russian Grand Prix. I'm hoping that the car doesn't feel that bad here at Suzuka. Suzuka on this game certainly is one of my favorite tracks, actually, to drive, really flowing in Sector 1, of course, nice and aggressive, and, the races usually are very, very entertaining here at Japan. So looking forward to this one. Not much change at the top in terms of R&D, more at the bottom there. You can see Haas make some strides, but everyone in the kind of top half of the grid stay the same. So we're going to get straight into qualifying, and unfortunately, I have to say, straight into quali, we are met with some fuel system issues, which just isn't a great way to start the episode, is it?
We've got a situation at the moment. Seems like something's off with the fuel injection system. We're looking into it, but we're going to be out of action for a few minutes.
So we lose, unfortunately, a few minutes there at the start, but it's not too bad, actually. Still got 13 minutes left, so if I go right now for a flying lap, we should have enough time for 2 flying laps in this session. It's a little bit overcast, but I don't believe there's any rain forecast for the entire race weekend, but the track might be a little bit cold, maybe, with no sun shining at the moment on Suzuka here on Saturday. So here we are then. At the moment, my teammate Leclerc goes provisional fastest there on pole position, so that's very, very good. So our car has some pace, so we start our flying lap then into Sector 1, the flowing S section, but oh my god! That is not the flow I was looking for. The car completely swings and hooks up left there, and we're straight into the wall. I try my best to turn right and steer into the spin, and it looks like, watching back the replays, I think I dipped my right rear tyre into the grass. I think that is what actually unsettled the car. I thought at the time that my car got hooked on the curb, and the kind of just rubbering in of the track and the momentum pulled me left. But it looks like maybe the tyre grazing the grass there on the rear right was the thing that caused the upset. And certainly the feeling and the force feedback in the car was, as soon as I turned into the apex, the car started to feel very floaty. Tried to turn right into the steer, but because I was going so quickly, because usually with Season 8 level of downforce, you can just chuck these cars in pretty much full throttle to that left-hander now in Season 8. So I was very committed. The car was going very, very quickly, and the reaction time just wasn't there to try and save the car and slow the thing down, and straight into the wall, and tyre sheared off. And so that's going to be a calamity and a disaster for us then to start off the Japanese Grand Prix. Of course, though, basing off the last episode, we've got some points to play with in the championship. So this is exactly why I wanted a cushion like this in the championship. In case something like this happened, we have to fight back here. So we're going to be last place there. Looks like Lewis Hamilton also didn't have a great time in the Renault. His teammate is on pole position, and Hamilton's way down the order. In the end, Leclerc gets P5 then behind both Red Bulls and a Mercedes car of Verstappen. So our car has some kind of pace, but the Red Bulls are looking strong, and Alonso, surprisingly, is coming out of nowhere to look very, very strong. It's been a long while since the Renaults have been right up there fighting the Red Bulls for pole position there. So GG's to Alonso, I guess, and commiserations to Hamilton, who's also bottled it in this qualifying session. So I guess for the race start, if I can try and catch up to Hamilton in the opening few laps, I think that would be ideal, and then both of us can kind of tandem make our way through despite being in different teams. But it's a bit of a long road ahead of us now, a bit of a fight back, and definitely a comeback and a last question mark challenge essentially here at the Japanese Grand Prix, but raring to go. You guys know me, never give up. Let's get into this. Let's go to the grid for the Japanese Grand Prix.
We're live today from the Mie Prefecture of Japan as we look forward to the Japanese Grand Prix. The 2015 race here was one of only 5 Grand Prix in history to feature no retirements at all. Although with the highly competitive field we have today, I don't expect we'll be repeating that stat anytime soon. A lap of this historic racetrack covers 3.6 miles, and it's the only time during the season that we race on a figure-of-8 racetrack. The drivers can expect some intense G-forces through the 18 corners on offer here as they experience some of the highest average apex speeds on the Formula One calendar. And keep an eye out for overtakes going into the final chicane. Anthony Davidson joins me again for the race today. Let's talk about the engineer. They're starting towards the back of the field today in a car that is fast, so they'll be disappointed, won't they?
They'll have a sinking feeling as they look up from the cockpit and realise they're in a different postcode to the start line for sure. But the one positive they can hold on to is that the car is quick and they can make their way through the field.
And so with that, let's have a look at the starting grid ahead of this Japanese Grand Prix for Season 8 of my F1 2018 career mode. And on pole position then is Fernando Alonso after a long while. Renault sticking on the top step with Pierre Gasly in second place alongside him on the front row in the first of the two Red Bull Hondas. The second is Carlos Sainz in third place with Max Verstappen in P4 in the first of the Mercedes. Then comes Leclerc and Hülkenberg. Then it's an all row of Toro Rosso followed by Daniel Ricciardo and Esteban Ocon. Outside the top 10 is then Brendan Hartley, Romain Grosjean, Lewis Hamilton P13, Vettel demoted to P14 with a grid penalty, Stroll, Bottas, Raikkonen and Sergio Perez, and the last row is myself in P19 and Kevin Magnussen with the grid penalty down to last place for the Japanese Grand Prix. Right, so we're not quite last place, but it's the last row of the grid, P19, with Magnussen having a grid penalty that demotes him right to the back. But strategy-wise then, going to be a one-stop. But that would be the case anyway, even if we start on our super softs, because with the tyre wear levels as well in Season 8, the super soft to mediums are possible. So really, our strategy is the same thing as everyone else, but we have the... Basically, we might feel better later on, about halfway through this race, because our tyres will obviously not go off as fast as the super soft. So I think in the middle part of this race, when everyone's super soft start to go off and they're transitioning to go onto mediums, that's when we need to really push hard in clean air, hopefully, and be past most of the traffic. So we need to do a lot of overtaking in the first few laps to get past that traffic, use that clean air and the soft tires to our advantage. So here we go then to the race start. Easier said than done, that kind of comeback strategy, but you know we'll try our best as we go to 5 red lights for the Japanese Grand Prix here at Suzuka. The lights are out, we're underway. It's a pretty good start initially there compared to Sergio Perez on the right, but he's going to cut across into the middle of the circuit. We cut across Magnussen, try and defend and squeeze him to the inside, but ultimately have to go to the left, and very, very easy into turn 1, not wanting to make any contact, and then we pounce on the two Force Indias. Round the outside we go of Bottas and Perez, and now trying to see what we can do on Kimi Raikkonen. You can see already there's a massive train forming, so I'm going to have a little look on the outside of the Iceman there, my former teammate from Ferrari in Season 5, but Raikkonen is as cool as ever and cuts me off 2 times there, and so Raikkonen really not leaving me any room to work with. He slowed himself down as well as me, so at this point I was already quite pissed off with the race already halfway through lap 1. As you can see, everyone is so single file and the positions are there to be taken, but Raikkonen's being such a boat and an obstacle at the moment. We're going to have to dive one to the inside of not only him, but also maybe his teammate. Double lock up there. The Williams car is so slow in this season that I even try and make a half overtake on Stroll. Didn't intend to, but it just happens that way as he wobbles around and tries to squeeze me to the left, so we have to kind of keep our wits about us on the left-hand side, and we just get it down the inside. Bit of contact made into Spoon, but got to get the elbows out because otherwise we will get bullied off the circuit like Raikkonen did to us, so you sometimes just got to get those elbows out. But we now are up into P15, so pretty decent, but Hamilton's made even more progress. So I said we need to try and catch up to Hamilton. This is where Hamilton started, and he's obviously bolted a few positions ahead, so now we have to try and catch up to him in the next few laps, hopefully, as we have to go through Vettel. Then you've got Grosjean, I think McLaren of Hartley, and then the other Ferrari of Ocon there. So those are all the midfield kind of tier cars. So now it might get a little bit trickier, you know. We'll have to, maybe a little bit patient and make the moves where our car's got the strength, which is mainly the straights, and also Sector 1, where I'm usually quite good against the AI. But we come across off the exit of the Spoon curves on lap number 2. Vettel looks like he might size up a move on Grosjean here, so we're going to have to just be a little bit wary that these guys might slow each other up, and there might be an opportunity later on in the lap as those two really slow each other down, but I've got no room. I could have maybe dived down the inside there for a 3-1 moment, but that was never going to work, so we stick behind just watching this basically with a bucket of popcorn, and Grosjean squeezes Vettel very harshly in the Haas v Ferrari fight. But here we go now, building the speed in the Alfa Romeo here down the outside. This will be actually, I choose to go on the outside of Vettel, skidding across off circuit a little bit there. Myself and Vettel both skate across into turn 1 as the grip kind of lessens a little bit, and we both get Grosjean. Unable to get Vettel though, as we went off circuit a little bit, so that's probably fair enough, otherwise that probably would have been an illegal overtake. But now I'm not going to waste any time. Round the outside to the inside for the next left-hander up the hill, and Bob's your uncle. We're up into P13 then, and now we've got a bit of clean air to try and chase after Brendan Hartley, who is fighting Esteban Ocon, I believe, into the chicane here. Looks like he's not really gone for the move though, as they're single file, but Ocon locks up majorly. That puts me off massively, and Vettel now has ran my outside, and so Vettel's having to go and trying to re-overtake me here. So again, 2 former Ferrari teammates side by side. Alfa Romeo Ferrari now. Vettel has got back passes there with DRS, so he's caught me napping. Obviously made a mistake into the chicane, watching Ocon there, and Ocon really put me off because I obviously wasn't expecting a Ferrari car to go straight off nearly at the chicane. But we're going to make the move back on Vettel to the inside, back up into P13, and now we'll chase after his teammate Ocon. That has been done by Brendan Hartley there. Hartley just pretty much pressured Ocon into a mistake, it it looks like there. So let's try and see if we can pressure Ocon similarly enough as we, oh my god, literally just about catch the car. You can literally see there, that is how hard I'm pushing there, really pushing the limits of the circuit to the point where I'm having to wrestle the car back in a straight line after making a little bit of a mistake by putting the left tyre on the curbing there. So really trying to wring the neck out this car to get up the order, because P13 now, lap 4, it's pretty good progress, but I need a bit more progress, because if you look at the mini-map there, how spread out the top 10 is, you can see the leaders are already on the back straight there. Looks like a Red Bull is in the lead, so I'm going to guess it's probably going to be Gasly, knowing my luck. And so we're going to have to really get a move on in the second phase of this Grand Prix. But we got a slow car. Hamilton. Oh my god. We just about avoid contact there on the left-hand side there. Took probably the worst line, but we made it work. We overtook Ocon as well. So a double overtake there. But Hamilton with major issues. We're now going to make a third overtake down the inside of Brendan Hartley there as we wrestle the car back into a straight line as it unsettles on the rear end. We're up into P10 then. So a fantastic sequence of corners for us. 3 overtakes done on one straight there. And we're up into P10. And now this safety car has been deployed, the full safety car, and so now this might just play right into our hands, just like it did with Russia. Maybe we overtake the safety car, has to catch the leader, and so I slot in behind Daniel Ricciardo there, but the safety car's out. I think I'm guessing for Hamilton, because he was going very slow with a puncture maybe, or just a mechanical failure of some sort. Sergio Perez is out of the Grand Prix, so I'm going to guess already that maybe Perez made some contact with Hamilton or something happened like that, because they're down the back straight. This is Perez making a move on the Williams car, and oh no, that's not pretty. Perez is tried to overtake the Williams car and has gone straight into the back of Hamilton. That is if that was real life, that would be one heart and mouth moment to watch back in the replay cameras, I can tell you that much. So as we now come through on the very next lap then, safety car goes down for one more lap, of course, and everyone ahead of us is coming in. Everyone who started on super soft tyres has come in for a first pit stop onto another set of supers. You can see on the top left there, Gasly on supers. I'm pretty sure I saw Leclerc and the other Red Bull Sainz also on supers. And so Ricciardo has inherited the race lead. I'm in second place, and so this is massively gone into our hands now, because remember, me and Ricciardo are probably doing a one stop onto mediums, and our tyres were going to go longer than 7 laps anyway, whereas everyone else behind us looks like they've all converted onto a 2-stop maybe, because they have to pit again for a different set of compounds if they're all gone to another set of super softs. So we might just be in the top 2 fight legitly right now, which is amazing. So here we go now on the restart, green flag going, and Ricciardo gets away well through the last corner, but we've got good straight line speed with the Alfa Romeo here. We're going to duck to the left hand side after initially faking to the right, and round the outside we go. And if you look carefully enough, Gasly is also following me through. He's straight through past Ricciardo there, and so he's up into second place. So my championship rival now in second place, Gasly in the championship, is second place in this race. I'm first, so right now 1-2 is as it is in the championship standings here. But now is the case in question, how long can we hold up Gasly on these worn soft tyres compared to pretty new super softs? Remember though, we both have to make a pit stop in this Grand Prix now, but I can maybe try and stretch these soft tyres, you know, enough to go into a set of supers maybe then this Grand Prix, whereas Gasly will have to either go into softs or mediums. But it won't really matter, because that's not in the question, because on lap 8 he just gets a mega drive, and that Red Bull Honda, it's been so OP as of late in the last few races in this career mode, and Gasly once again showing that very much so as he just gets past me. No DRS, remember, down that straight, but just great straight line speed. And actually I'm just slow right now. I think my tyres are going off a little bit, and compared to the new super softs for these guys, it's just no match, because Leclerc now is on my right hand side and he's going to fly past me as well with some great speed and a great exit off the last corner. No DRS for him, as of course DRS not even activated until 2 laps after this safety car has gone back in and Leclerc gets past it. And so I'm going to check my heads up display, and the tyre wear is a little bit, and I can certainly feel it, and I just don't have too much pace. So like Russia in a way in stint 1, at that moment in time, I didn't have much of an answer, really. They both flew past me, and I felt quite defenseless. So I'm just going to have to try my best now. Remember, though, we started second last place, so I can't complain. If we can finish in P3, I'll be chuffed. So let's just try and see how this race progresses. Meanwhile, behind us, we've got Verstappen making moves on Ricciardo there, and I think the other McLaren comes in. You've got Carlos Sainz in the other Red Bull, who's a bit down the order, makes his way through the McLaren there. So behind me is going to be Verstappen on another set of soft tyres. So that's going to be the real test for me is to see really how good I can do against Verstappen, because he's on the same strategy as me. Verstappen started on soft tyres, he's gone long, and so if I can stick with Verstappen, I'll know my pace is relatively okay. But the question is going to be Carlos Sainz behind the Dutchman there, the Spaniard in the Red Bull. How fast is he going to be on super soft? So the answer is going to be very, very fast. He's going to go down the inside of Verstappen pretty much on the next lap, I think that is, through 130R. Very nice and aggressive move for Carlos Sainz, and so he is up into P4, and so this is the big test. Can I try and keep Carlos Sainz at bay? If I can, we might have a very good chance of the podium here, because obviously all of us are pitting once more, and so if I can keep him at bay before the pit stop phases, that'll be pretty damn good. So as we move through then on to lap 15, it's going to be Gasly and Leclerc that come in for their second pit stop of the afternoon. We're back up into first place here. It's going to be Carlos Sainz in second for now, Verstappen third, so us three go on a little bit longer. Of course, though, remember, myself and Verstappen will be going on even longer than Carlos Sainz. So we come through now onto lap 17, though. 3 laps later, Verstappen and Sainz have made their pit stops already. I'm the last one to make our pit stop, so we come in finally for our one and only pit stop, and we are going to switch this to a set of super soft tyres. We've got 10 laps to go, or even less, 9 laps to go in this Grand Prix, and so thanks to the safety car, we've been able to stretch these softs long enough to go onto these super soft tyres and do a very aggressive one-stop here. We're now going to be so much faster than Gasly and Leclerc, so we have a good chance of maybe trying to attack them in the second phase and the last phase of this Grand Prix. You can see on the minimap there, Gasly isn't too far ahead of Leclerc, and I'm confident I can catch back up to Leclerc on a faster set of tyres. We're ahead of Carlos Sainz, that's pretty damn good as well, so he didn't actually catch us up too much in that first stint, nor did he catch us up on an undercut with the pit stop there. So now we just push flat out on these super softs, and in theory we should be able to catch up to Leclerc because we're on the faster compound, and you saw the difference between the super softs and the softs when they overtook me. And so voila, as we move on to lap 23, on to lap 24, we've got 3 laps to go in this Grand Prix, and we are closing up. We're within 1 second of Leclerc, but now the issue is, much like real life Formula 1, I've been able to catch up quite rapidly to Leclerc within 1 second, but now that I'm within 1 second, the overtake is a little bit difficult because the dirty air kicks in, the defensive work kicks in, and so at the moment I just can't find a way past Leclerc. We're going to try and hustle and harry him in the first sector, but you can see that I just don't have enough room. We have a look on the outside, but he's going to pinch me to the left-hand side. I knew that was going to happen, just like Raikkonen did on the opening lap, so I think better of it, and instead we're still staring at the back of his car as we move on to lap 25, then DRS open. We've got 3 laps left, including this one, and so it's getting towards crunch time for this Grand Prix. Of course, this would be crucial to try and get some more points to try and limit the damage, really, of Gasly winning this Grand Prix. This is a difference of 3 points, and at the end of the day, the championship's gone down to 3 points before, so we really need to try and get past, and it's unfortunate we can't do team orders here, and so we're going to have to try and force the move, really. Round the outside we go, but this time we do have enough momentum. We're side by side. Leclerc makes some contact with us on the front right. We lift off, he lifts off to give us some room, and so we're neck and neck nearly, but then he just pulls out ahead, and he's got the inside line. We're going to switch it, maybe. No, can't make a move to the inside there. He's going to always cut us off, and so we once again stick behind him there. We were so close, but the usual AI racing line just squeezes you into that left-hander up the hill, and it happened again, and we made some contact because of it, because the AI just don't seem to react to you being down the inside on that left-hander, specifically that left-hander, every single time. And so instead we have to wait now on the second last lap of the Grand Prix. We're so much closer to Leclerc through spoon curves this time, but again, as has been the case for this entire stint in this end laps here, Leclerc just seems to have great acceleration and great straight line speed off that corner, and so I can't make a move on him through 130R, because that definitely would be the easier move, really, compared to Sector 1, and so instead we stick behind as close as we can through the chicane. We're now moving on to the last lap of the Grand Prix. Do or die stuff, DRS open, last lap, here we go. Can we get these extra 3 points on our teammate? He seems pretty determined to keep P2, but I need to try and get that to limit the damage to Pierre Gasly in the championship. So here we go now, right up the chuff, really fast into turn 1. We're going to have to go flat out commitment here. We're low fuel as well, and so we're going to have to burn that fuel and save that later in the lap, because we're going to go for it here once again on the outside here on the left. Feed the power through, we get through, and we cut across Leclerc. This time we have the momentum. We just about hold the car. We're literally opposite lock through that left-hander there to save the car in a straight line. And now we go down to lean mixture. We also go down to high to save ERS for later in the lap. But the crucial thing is that fuel. You have to try and, we're going to try and lift and coast into the hairpin. You can see there, lifting a little bit earlier, trying to go upshifting early, trying to save that fuel. It's green now, so we can go to maybe standard fuel just about. You can see it's on the teetering edge of just minus, so I don't want to run out of fuel on the line. And this is going to play into Leclerc's hands, because he's now right up my chuff. chuff, and so this is going to be very fine. We're moving into literally the last straight and literally the last two corners of this, or 2 or 3 corners of this Grand Prix. And Leclerc, here he comes knocking through 130R maybe. We're on overtake mode. Rich mix here momentarily. Then here comes Leclerc on the outside. Oh, we just about defend from him here. To the inside, into the last chicane. Pierre Gasly will win the Japanese Grand Prix, but we just about come through for P2 by a whisker ahead of our teammate in P3.
Okay, good job, mate. Really well done. That was a fantastic drive.
It was a magnificent race and a drive right out of the top drawer to take the win for Red Bull today. And Anthony Davidson, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
Well, you know what they say, to finish first you have to finish. And that fact was clear today, with lots of retirements having a big effect on the outcome of the race. As a driver, you tend to keep reliability concerns to the back of your mind and just focus on what's in front of you. But for the teams, races like this can be very stressful.
So all in all, I'd say not too bad to be fair, considering we started P19, second last place. To get up into second and beat our teammate on the road is pretty damn fantastic actually as a recovery drive goes. Obviously got massively helped out by the safety car, because I don't know where we would have been without that, because both me and Ricciardo and Verstappen actually benefited quite a lot there, and in the end I was able to take my car the furthest through there. But we obviously do lose ground to Gasly, so that goes down to less than 20 points now between myself and Gasly, but that's still quite a lot considering past seasons of this career mode here. In the Constructors, we're still behind Red Bull now, 11 points off. We're going to have to do something. I think me and Leclerc have to try and get a 1-2 at some point in these remaining races. We want to try and jump Red Bull and try and win the Constructors for Alfa Romeo Racing. I don't really see any other way we can win the championship in the team championship if we don't get a 1-2 at some point and topple both Red Bulls, because both Red Bulls have been very, very consistent, Gasly and Sainz. If one of them's not on the top step, the other one is. So that's going to be a bit difficult. But in the drivers, we're still quite comfortable, just controlling this. We've got 4 races left, so there's still a lot of points on offer, so we have to be a bit wary and cautious still. I'm experienced enough to know that it's not over yet by any means of the imagination. But guys, if you did enjoy the episode, then be sure to smash that like button. Let me know your thought in the comments below. If you are new around here, subscribe for weekly Formula content. I've been Alfa. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.